And we are live. Good morning and welcome to the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. And it's Saturday in the kitchen. And today we're going to do a couple of things that are kind of special. This week, I was looking at the calendar and noticed that for the month of October, there are all kinds of national days. And guess what today is? National Cookie Day. So guess what? We're going to be making some cookies today. And guess what Monday is? Monday is National Cinnamon Roll Day. So, you know what we're going to have to put together and have it ready for Monday morning. So let's get busy. Let's get started. And I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. And here in the kitchen, we're doing things in the kitchen, and we do things for the kitchen as well as for our family. So I am just looking forward to every moment that we're spending together. Now, like I said, today is a baking day. I've got on my baking apron. I've got on my little cupcakes, even though we're not baking cupcakes today. But you know what? We are doing some baking. The oven's hot and it is going to be smelling good. So just stay right there because it's going to be a great time together. Now, we're starting today right here. And what I had to do, just for the sake of time, I had to go ahead and put the dough together for the cinnamon rolls because that takes a little while and it's a process. But we have our cinnamon roll dough ready. And I'm going to put that off to the side. I'm going to take half out for now, just half. And the neat thing is that we're literally going to go down in there, work out half. And sweet doughs are a little bit stiffer than just your regular bread yeast dough. So we're going to take that out. We're going to get about half of it out. And I'm actually going to prepare some for us and prepare some for some friends. And it was funny. One of my buddies called up and said she was going to fix cookies today, or fix cookies this weekend. And I told her, halt, don't do it, because I was going to be fixing cookies and had planned to give her some. So anyway, we're going to be working on that. So I've got our dough here, and because it just came out of the refrigerator, hello everyone, it just came out of the refrigerator. It's a little bit cold, but you know what, cold dough will roll out much better. So we're gonna get that together, let it warm up because it's gonna have to rise a little bit. So I'm gonna get this going. I'm putting it into a log, and the reason for that is because I want to be able to roll it out. I'm hoping to get it almost the size of this cutting board, and we'll see if we can do that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we just have to be patient and get that done. I wasn't so sure if I was going to be able to come on today because of the fact that we were dealing with inclement weather. And I didn't know if we would have power. There were just all kinds of things going on. So I'm going to bring you over just a little bit and bring you down, tilt you down so you can see better and hear me better. Let's make sure we got everything turned up. Okay, got good sound and ready to go. So I'm going to start rolling this out. Like I said, today's National Cookie Day. So that doesn't mean you have to make cookies, but it sure is a lot of fun if you can do it. And with your kiddos, or maybe not, just by yourself. But like I said, I'm rolling these out, and I want them, I'm going to do 2 batches. And the nice thing about the dough is that it is workable enough that I can get this ready. I can actually prepare the rolls, and I can freeze them and put them in the freezer and then just take them out as I need them. So I am going to get this to about 1/8, well, we'll say 1/4 of an inch, but we'll see how far we can get it to go. So I'm just rolling. And sometimes I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm not as um, patient with rolling things out as I probably should be. And that's probably why I do more cooking rather than baking. But I'm learning. I'm learning. You know, we're always about learning new things. So as you can see, this is slowly but surely getting to where I want it to be. It may not be perfectly shaped, and it certainly doesn't have to be. So there we go. We got our sweet dough rolled out. Ta-da! Woo! There we go. We got it all rolled out, and it's just about covering the entire surface. Now, I have a bowl here that I'm going to place a couple of spoonfuls of brown sugar. I'm using brown sugar today. And the reason for that is because in one batch in particular, I'm going to add pecans to it. I kind of wanted a pecan cinnamon roll. Kind of have to bend down because I want you to be able to see. That's more important. Now, so we're going to sprinkle in. We got our sprinkle in at least a teaspoon. And if we need more, we'll look at it. We'll look at the color of it and see how it mixes up. You want to be able to see the cinnamon all throughout the sugar because we're actually going to need cinnamon and sugar for both rolls. But, and you can certainly use just regular white granulated sugar, but I like the flavor of the brown sugar. I like that molasses flavor. So I'm going to add just a little more cinnamon. Okay, like I said, you have to look at the color and look at your mixture. Now I have softened butter off on the side that I'm going to spread all over our dough. And you know, of course, did you see that where I put the bowl in and was working with it, it actually stuck to my surface, but that's okay. You know, those are things that happen. All right, we're ready to go. So I have nice softened butter that's here. And I'm going to take this soft butter and I'm just going to start spreading. I mean, it is really soft. I left it out overnight. And so I am just going to spread. We need the butter. Get it all over our surface. I like doing the butter first. Sometimes you see people who do the cinnamon sugar first and then they put the butter on. But I like to do the butter first and then put the cinnamon sugar because then the cinnamon sugar holds on to the surface better. Okay, there's our buttery, nice buttery surface for our rolls. These are going to be so good. And I'm still left with about half a stick, so that's good. Now, because we might need a little bit more. Now I'm going to start, I'm being nice because I'm going to start sprinkling sugar. So I'm using my spoon and just kind of sprinkling the brown sugar over this surface. And I'm sure I have more than enough for what we're going to do. You get our spatula back and just kind of spread that out so that it's all over our surface because we want cinnamon and sugar, want that flavor in every bite that we take. We want it to be, you know, just like the Cinnabons. They are rich and delicious. We know we can only have maybe half. That's what I usually have, half of one, because it's just too much. It's too much. And even though it is delicious, but it's just a little rich. So we have to, while we like them rich, we have to know when to stop. So in other words, so we've got our cinnamon, our sugar, our butter, all that good stuff is all right there. Now, in this batch, we're going to add the pecans. And these are Priester pecans, which, you know, I love Priester's pecans because, number one, they're pretty close in proximity as far as where they're farmed and raised. And I'm going to sprinkle the pecans all over this surface. There we go. Woo-hoo. Oh, it's going to be so good. Now, whoops, I missed a spot. Right up here at the front. Got to catch those, you know. You might have to spread them out a little bit. And I'm actually going to just kind of give them a little bit of a tap because I want them to stay in place as we're rolling it. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to start down here, and we want to roll this tight. So we're going to start the roll and roll it up. What are you guys up to today? We've got sunshine today. Who would have thought that hurricane was rough? And we didn't totally lose power, but we lost power for a little while. So I hope you're in a place where you are safe and that you are, if you were in the hurricane, are affected by the hurricane, I hope that at this point you are safe. I hope that your property was certainly kept, because when you look at those pictures on the news, man, people are coming back to some very rough circumstances. Now you'll see that I'm just kind of sprinkling just a little bit more along the way. And the reason for that is because I saw some empty spots. So we're going to continue to roll this up. And you can see how easy this dough is to work with. And like I said, it's nice and cold. And if it opens, just kind of press and get it back. I'm taking my time so we won't lose anything. And then once we get almost to the end right here, then I'm going to bring this side over. I'm going to bring it over. I'm going to stretch it over. Stretch it over because we do want this to be tight. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take our fingers and we're going to pinch because we want that to close. And be careful when you pinch because I can see already I'm having issues with pinching. And just kind of spread those out, get them nice and tight. Now let's go down here to the ends and we're going to tuck those ends in. You see I'm tucking that in. Just kind of poke all that back in on that end. Then I'm going to come over here to the other side and we're going to tuck that end in as well. Just going to take your thumb and push it back in. And if you need to pinch, then pinch. Okay. So there's our nice log of cinnamon rolls. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to be preparing these in my little 8x8 dishes. And that's because some of these are going to be going bye-bye. And I want them already prepared so that I don't have to worry about doing the cutting. Now, I have a pair of scissors. Some people use their, you could use your, you bring it back up. You can use your dental floss and cut, or you can use a sharp knife. I think I'm going to start right here in the center and give it a cut. And I like mine maybe about 2 inches. So we'll say 2 finger spaces. So I'm putting those in. There we go. And actually that worked out perfect on that side. Let's see if we can come out equally as well on this side. Now this one's a little large, so I'm going to cut it even though it might be a little smaller than the rest. That's okay. All right, now here's our first dish. So I'm going to take them and I'm going to start putting them in. I certainly could do this without parchment, but I thought it might be easier to get out if I put it in parchment. And I like to have mine up against each other. So as they rise, they're going to have a nice space. So there's 3. So it looks like it's going to be 3 per row. This one didn't cut all the way through. And 3 this way. Oh, they're going to look nice. And 1, 2, 3. And 3. And 3. So there we go. We got our first batch all ready to go. So our cinnamon buns. These are the pecan cinnamon buns. Okay, so I'm going to set those off to the side. And in fact, I think what I'll do is that I'm going to set them on the stove and then we'll put them in. I'm going to give them a few minutes just to get a little warmer and then we'll put them in the oven. Okay, now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ready to go in the next dish. We're going to take them out so that 1, 2, and we got number 3, and this is the one that's going to be there, and I'm just going to press him down. Okay, so we're going to need a little bit more. We've got enough. Remember, we had extra. And it's not so much extra, but we had just enough to be able to make another whole batch. So we've got plenty of sweet dough. Let's get that there. And I've got a few pecans that are kind of jumping in on the show. Okay, a little bit of flour to make sure that we roll this out carefully. I'm going to get this all together. And like I said, this is cold. Cold, cold, cold. So there we go. Let's see if I need a little bit on here just to get us going. You guys are talking and talking. That's good to see. I love it. Did you all get to do something fun this week and enjoy your family? And we are certainly having a blessed week as well. So I've got a pecan in there, but I'm going to leave him right there. You know, you're looking at it going, what is that? That's a pecan that has just decided he was going to roll up in the dough. And we're going to let him do that. How many of you make pecan rolls or make cinnamon buns? Some people make them out of biscuit dough, and you can certainly do that, biscuit dough. And but this is a yeast sweet dough, and I will give you the recipe for that because it's easy to do. Now, let's get that other piece of butter that I told you we had. We still have our little half piece, and we're going to plop him in. We're going to spread it around. You can see we have a few pieces of pecan that are popping up here and there. That's fine. I'm going to make our little half stick enough. There we go. All right. Now that's down. And you know, I think I'm going to have to put a little more brown sugar in and certainly a little more cinnamon in. I still have a little brown sugar in there. Let me shake that out because we're going to need that. Okay, so let's mix this up. Hello, hello, hello. Walter, how about that? I see you out there. Good to have you today. I got to switch glasses because so I can see who's out there, see what you're saying. I am certainly glad and blessed to have you here. Wonderful, wonderful. Good morning to all of you. I see we've got quite a group. You were in Colombia. Oh, did you get hit by the storm as well? I'm sure you did, that you got a lot of rain. Unfortunately, my hands are a little sticky and a little dirty, so I can't play around with the screen as much as I'd like to. Now, we're getting ready to sprinkle on our brown sugar and our cinnamon. Oh, these are going to be so good for cinnamon bun day, which is going to be on Monday. So at lunchtime, we'll have to talk about these buns and really get a close-up look. And in fact, Monday, what I'll do is that I'll make sure that I share the dough recipe at lunchtime so we can all do it, because it was so easy to do. And it's one of those refrigerated doughs that you can actually keep up to a week in your refrigerator. Think of how nice that would be to have it for the holiday, where you could have your buns all ready, your dough ready to go, and then all you'd have to do is to just roll them out and bake them. How about that? All right, now we're getting ready to roll. Let's get this all rolled up, and we're going to roll it tight. Let's get that nice and tight. I think we're actually going to have a little extra, and that's okay. So we're going to roll these. You notice I am not putting any pecans in these, just in case there's someone in the group who doesn't eat pecans. So we're going to think about that. We're going to think about them too, that they can have a cinnamon bun as well and have it without the nuts. So even though I am a nut, but we're going to finish this up. I'm going to bring this little flap over. Bring it over. You get this centered again. I'm going to come down to the end and press. We're going to tuck the end in. There we go. We got that end tucked in. Let's come over here and tuck it in. You always want to tuck these ends in because you don't want to lose any of the goodness that's inside of this bun. Okay, scissors in hand. We're going to start in the middle. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're going to get 5 on this end. See if I can do it this way. 1, and get the whole thing. 2, 3, 4, and I think I'm going to leave that one just the way he is. Okay, now so we're going to put this in, and these are just a little bit smaller than the other one, so we might be able to get more into this dish. 2, I think because these are a little smaller, I might be able to get 4 per row, which would be nice. So let's see. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, I've got room. We're going to fill this container. 4, and see if we can get everybody in the pool. So there we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, guys. This is going to be great. And we're going to squeeze this one in. There we go. So we have those with nuts and those without. So there'll be a mix in this dish. And like I said, I'm going to cover it with a towel so it will be able to sit on the stove for a little while, have a chance to get warm, because the stove is already nice and hot. And it's going to be ready for these rolls, because it's going to take about anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes for them to bake. So we want them to bake. And hopefully we'll have them out before you have to go. So let's get these over here. I'm going to cover them up. Sorry, I have to turn for a moment. There we go. Now, I'm going to take this out of the way so we can get started because, you know, while Monday is Cinnamon Bun Day, today is Cookie Day. So let's see what we can whip up today. We're going to whip up some chocolate chip cookies. Oh. They're going to be so good as well. And I like the flexibility of chocolate chip cookies because you can put just about anything in those chocolate chip cookies that you like. Now, I just happened to be able to see Patricia. Patricia said that she used to work at Cinnabon a long time ago when she was at the university. And since that time, she's never made them homemade. Ah, Patricia. So you go to Cinnabon and do it. And I understand there's a certain amount of loyalty, or you have looked at so many buns that you just didn't want to do it. So it's one of those two. You'll have to tell me what that is. Now, why haven't you tried them homemade? Okay, so let's get these out of the way. I made this, I got a spatula, we're good. Now, in this bowl, this is where we're going to start. I have my mixer because at this point, it is about time. So I brought the mixer out. Let me find the beaters. Where'd they go? I think I'm going to use my mixer. Okay, guys, I'm having a moment. All right, well, let's put the sugar in the bowl. Sugar in the bowl. All right, I've got brown sugar, 3/4 cups of both brown sugar and white sugar, 3/4 cups. And those are there. And while we're doing, oh, there they are. While we're doing that, you know, I'm looking for the beaters. I had thought I had everything laid out, and the beaters are always the last thing, and I forgot those. Okay, so the beater's there. We're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and get that plugged in. So in just a few minutes, we're going to have cookies ready to go on the pan. Now, you know that when you start these recipes that you have to have butter, you have to have some sugar, and you have to have some eggs. So we've got our butter. And in this recipe, we need a cup. So that's going to be 2 sticks of butter, and it is well softened. And I purposely made sure of that because I didn't want it to take a long time for us to bring this recipe together. So we've got our 2 sticks. I'm going to fold this because it's still got quite a bit of butter on it. That's how soft it was. Okay, so butter's out. There we go. And at this point, we need our mixer. I'm going to mix this. It's going to be just a little bit noisy. So Patricia, I see you're telling me you made so many of them. She just didn't want to do it anymore. But that was back in the late 80s. So she guess it's about time for her to make them again. You know what? I usually buy them out. And but the fun thing is now that I know that they are so easy to do, I'm not about to do it. I'm going to make my own. And, you know, it's a great thing to take to family functions because, let's face it, how many people have time enough to make their own cinnamon buns? And same goes with homemade cookies. You know, when you can go to the grocery store and buy those cookies quick, you know, most people do not take the time to make them, and they are just so much better. Plus, the good thing is we know everything that is in our recipe, whereas sometimes with those things that we get in the grocery, sometimes we don't. All right, I'm about to add the eggs. So Gonna put our egg in, egg one. Gonna do a little beat. Gonna add them one at a time. And watch this come together. Now, what I like to do, and this is certainly the time of the year to do this. I love putting my cookie dough together in October. Do a double batch of cookie dough. Put it together, put it into a log or a couple of logs, probably going to take 2 or 3. Roll them up in cling wrap or plastic wrap several times. Put them in foil and then put them into a Ziploc bag. And I'm telling you, you will have fresh cookies anytime you want them. And then that way, if you have a holiday function that you're going to and you need to take something, pull out one of those rolls of cookies or a whole bag of cookies and go ahead and bake them. And I'm telling you, everybody's going to love you because you will have right by bringing those cookies. All right, so egg 2. Let's get them going. I see down there, Denise. Yes. I am so excited to have everybody here in the house. And for those of you who are new to the Kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, I hope that you will stop, give me a thumbs up, you'll subscribe, and become a part of the family because we're doing these kind of things in the kitchen all the time. And we've got great plans coming up for the kitchen. All right, so eggs. This is 2 eggs, 3/4 cups of both brown sugar, 3/4 cups of granulated sugar. And now we're going to I'm going to rinse my hands off real quick, and we're going to put in the vanilla because we need vanilla, and I don't want to forget that. Now, also know, oh, you know what I did forget? I forgot the baking soda. We need the soda. Baking soda, baking soda. Where's our baking soda? Oh, there it is. Okay. We need our baking soda, and I certainly forgot the baking soda. So, rinse hands, because nothing opens when you have hands that are a little oily from the butter. All right, so we have our eggs in, sugars in. I'm going to sprinkle in, if I can ever get this open. You know, it's a good thing there was some reason I took this out today. This is one of those, I got it at the home show, but it is, and got 3 of them. But you can put it on your tops, and it just turns those tops so quickly. So whenever you see these, it can be in any shape, any color. It doesn't matter whose name is on it, but you're going to want to make sure that you have one of those in your kitchen. All right, so we need a teaspoon of baking soda. So let me get a teaspoon. That's a half tablespoon. All right, so this is a half teaspoon. So I'm gonna do a half and a half. And sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay, and we need a little bit of salt because you know the salt is going to bring out the flavor. So let's get that salt. And we're going to add in, let's see, a teaspoon of salt. Okay, so let's go. We got half. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. And half. There we go. Got our salt, got our baking soda, And let's give it another mix, just to make sure, because you do not want this once you get a mouthful of baking soda. That will not be good. Now, the good thing, and one thing to be sure to add at this point, when you're mixing your eggs, your sugar, your butter, this portion of your recipe, you can beat all day, and it will make absolutely no difference to the recipe. But once you put the flour in, it has to be quick. So we're going to make sure this is well mixed. And I'm actually going to put in, let's see, this is, I want about 2 teaspoons. I'm going to use that little half teaspoon just to make sure. Like I said, I'm measuring for your sake. There's a half, and the recipe actually calls for 1.5. So that's 1. And here's a half. And here's 1 for good measure. I like that vanilla. Okay. And if you're out of vanilla, you could use rum or some other, there are options to be able to put in. Now I'm going to take my spatula and go around because I want to make sure that I have everything mixed. So I'm going to just bring all that down to the center. And then we're going to really mix all of this up well, because like I said, we want all of this well mixed before we put it into, before we start to add the flour. So let's mix. Yeah, you know, at our house, pecans have to go, our walnuts have to go into cookie recipes because that's what the big guy likes. But since I'm going to share some of these, I'm going to do a few cookies without the nuts, and then I'll do some cookies with it. So then that way I have options. Okay. So everything should be well mixed at this point. Okay. Now, we need exactly 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And I always add 1/4 cup more. And I tell you what, there was a friend of ours who had a business. Now, this is our 2 cups that I'm adding in. A friend of ours had a business that making cookies. She made cookies for everybody. And her cookies were just so perfect. You know, I like mine a little crunchy, but I do want them a little bit soft. And her cookies were always just perfect. And so that was the one thing I wanted to know. What do you do different? She adds 1/4 cup extra of flour. And because of that, it causes her cookie texture to be perfect. So I'm adding in 3/4 cups. So that's 2 3/4 cups of flour that I put in. Now, so I'm going to start this using the spatula just because I'm hoping that I can avoid the cloud of flour. So we're going to get this mixed up just a little bit. And you know, our chocolate chip cookie dough is just a little bit stiff, and that's okay. We really could have done all of this by hand, but it's a little more fun and it moves along a little faster when you're able to use your mixer. And a hand mixer most of us have in our kitchen, but if not, you could certainly do it by hand. So I've gotten this started. Okay, so I'm going to turn the mixer on, and I'm going to mix probably to, I'm going to try to count in my head to about 10. Keep it on fairly low. I have to cut up just a little bit. Now, there we go. You see how the dough comes together? 8, 9, and 10. All right, so there we go. The beaters are off and in the sink. Let me wipe my hands because now we get to add the goodies. Now this is where you can be very creative. At this point, what you have in the bowl is just a basic cookie recipe. And so now you get to add the fun stuff. So we're going to start with chocolate chips because we're making chocolate chip cookies. And the recipe calls for about 2 cups of chocolate chip cookies. And that's just about all the chocolate chips that I have in there. So we're going to get that mixed first. And bring all of that together and get those chocolate chips distributed throughout the recipe. Now, you could add some dried fruit. You know, at around Christmas, I put cranberries and chocolate chip, or I call them cranberry chocolate chip cookies, and they're good. And or you can get those little bags of Aldi's has these bags of mixed berries, and they have cranberries. There's cranberries, there's blueberries, there's all kinds of things. Let's see if I can grab one real quick. Okay, this is a bag of mixed berries that comes from Aldi's. And it has dried cranberries, dried cherries, and dried blueberries. And you can toss one of these in with the chocolate chips. And it is a beautiful holiday cookie. Or anytime really, but especially at the holiday, because you know we're always trying to do something just a little extra for the holiday and for the family, you know. All right, so we've got all of the chocolate chip dough. Now I had a separate bowl that I'm going to attempt here to divide out. I'm going to take about half the dough, put it over in that bowl. And scoop that out. Okay, so this portion is going to, I'm going to take a little bit more. This portion is going to be just chocolate chips. All right, so let me check. Let's go over here and check on our rolls and see how they're doing. I've got them covered up over here on the stove. Got the rack ready for them. And this is the batch that we did first. Oh, they're rising nicely. Okay, so we're going to take these, the first batch, and we're going to put them in the oven in the center. And I have these on 350. I did them on 350 because of the fact that I know the cookies are going to be in there as well. And so we're going to have both baking. So I'm going to really have to keep an eye. So I'm going to set the timer for about 12 minutes. Just to remind myself to get back to them. You know, keep that timer handy, because if you're like me, I'll get caught up and start talking to you all, and I will forget about them, and they'll just be a little more toasty than I want. Okay, so we've got our regular cookies here. Let me close up the cinnamon so I won't have an accident. So I'm just putting things back. Let's see what everybody's talking about. Let's see. Hey, Denise. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. All right. You know, it was so nice, Denise, that Walter was on with us today. And that was a lot of fun. We certainly enjoyed following Walter Strong. He is actually has a live that starts up right after our show. And so he has, it's called The Huddle. And he's a wonderful, wonderful YouTube creator. And he is so helpful to those who are trying to get their YouTube channel going. And in fact, he actually, his guest that he had last week, she was a powerful lady. And it was just so nice to hear what she had to say. Now I'm putting in a tablespoon of cookie dough. That's going to be about the size. Now, because this has not been in the refrigerator, it's going to be just a tad bit stickier, because very often I will go ahead, put it in the refrigerator for about an hour and let it firm up just a little bit. But I can't do that today. So there we go. One, I'm going to separate them two so they won't stick together. So we got 3. And make 4. I think we'll be able to get 6 nice cookies on this little pan. And I'm going with a smaller pan because we're sharing the oven and sharing the center of the oven. So I'm trying to work with that and work within those parameters. Okay, there we go. All right, so we've got 6. And these are 6 that do not have nuts. Now, what a mess. Let me go rinse that off. All right, so we're going to put these 6 in, and we'll be ready to go. And hopefully everybody's going to come out at about the same time. So, let me, ooh, so good. Okay, so we've got cookies and we've got cinnamon buns. We've got all of that in the oven. So I want you to see, I still have sweet dough. So I really could get up Monday morning or even tomorrow, Sunday morning, roll this out real quick and have fresh cinnamon buns for breakfast. But I'm going to throw this into the refrigerator, back in the refrigerator, because it can last for an entire week. Okay, that's in. And over here in this bowl, we're going to go ahead and get the pecans in, because I know the big guy is going to want to know, where are the nuts? Okay, so I'm putting in a couple handfuls. I'm going to mix that up, see how it looks, see if we have enough. Actually, for the big guy, there's never enough nuts. Hello, Elizabeth. Good morning. Glad you're here. And we are working on National Cookie Day and Cinnabon Day, because the Cinnabons or cinnamon buns are going to, that National Day is on Monday. So we're getting them ready early, because I know we got to go to work. And so we may not have time on Monday to actually put them together. So this way, they're already done. Your family's going to be so excited. That's pretty good. Let's see what we're doing on here. Oh yeah, they're looking good. Cookies are working, and we are doing well time-wise. So let's talk a little bit. I'm going to sit down over here, give everything a chance, and when we hear the clock go off, then we'll run and check on our our items in the stove or in the oven. Oh, sunlight, bright lights, bright lights. All right, I'm gonna turn you this way. See if I can bring you down. There we go. Now, do you not love the weekend? You know, the weekend is always a lot of fun because it gives us a chance to do some things in the kitchen and around the house for the family that during the week is just too busy to get into. So I'm enjoying today. And especially, I had a chance to, a couple of the YouTubers lived in Florida. And so their areas, fortunately, I say prayerfully, God had taken care of their homes and they were able to get back into their house and they were able to pretty much go on with life as normal. But they had a couple of leaks here and there, which is totally understandable considering how horrible Ian was to Florida, to the state of Florida. And so I'm thankful that they are safe and well. But you do know that there are quite a few people, I'm sure, that are suffering because of the hurricane that went through. And, you know, some of the islands, oh my goodness, those residents of those islands are hit over and over again. And I'm sure they hate to see hurricane season come because they just know, buckle your seatbelt because we're going to have, this is what's going to happen. And, you know, the unfortunate thing is that when you're on some of these little small islands, there's nowhere to go. Nowhere to go other than, you know, you try to go to higher ground, hoping that with the flooding that you would be safe. But, you know, your home is pretty much to the whims of nature. And my husband was telling me yesterday, he did see, I think it was on one like Discovery Channel where they were, I think it's in the Dominican, when they were rebuilding the Dominican after one of the hurricanes. The new buildings that they have constructed are pretty much almost hurricane proof because they have, their engineers have come up with a structure that they were able to build that is able to withstand through a Category 4 hurricane. Now, you all know that with a Category 5, there's not a lot left, you know, but with a Category 4, obviously it's going to be bad, really bad, but you're able to at least in some places, depending upon what part of the storm that you're in, you are able to have some survivals. And so a lot of the people in the Dominicans that were affected by Ian and by Fiona, their buildings were substantial enough that they did not have an issue. So that's exciting to know. So I'm hoping that whomever the engineers are, they will certainly share their skills and techniques with other engineers as well, so that they can build structures that are more durable. And I think that's going to be great. That's going to be great, you know, because that's really what it's all about, having people to go through these types of situations and survive, you know. So I am thankful. We had terrible winds and terrible rain because it came right into South Carolina and right on the end where we are. And so, but we were blessed in that the winds were bad, the water was rough, but you know what? We're here. And so I'm thankful for that. But you know, it's one of those things that we look at. We look at people, and we have to think. You know, it's hard. It's hard to deal with that. And our whole United States is such a conglomeration of mixtures. You've got extreme heat over on the west, and you've got craziness in the mid range of the states. You know, some heat and some tornadoes and all kinds of things that are going on. So we are having to adjust. And as we're bringing up that, as we're having to adjust, that means that as homemakers and home cooks, we've got to think about how we are able to supply our families in such a way that regardless of the weather situation, we are able to make sure that they are not food insecure, that we have the capability of being able to keep those kitchens rolling. So let's go over here, because that was our indicator to let us know that our 12 minutes had gone by. Let's see what we got. Ooh, the cookies are looking good. The buns are up. I'm going to see if I can give you a little peek. The buns are up. And the cookies are going. And you can see, because they were soft, they're spreading quite a bit. But we're just going to let those continue to bake. And Monday at lunchtime, you are going to want to be in the house, because at lunchtime, we're going to sit down and talk about some preparations that we need to make now. You know, it's one of those things, I think, you know, we have been blessed in that what we need is always here. But things are changing, and that's not the case now. So because of that, we're going to look at what it is we need to get us through 22 and 2022 and into 2023. And I think 2023, I'm hoping it's going to be better. You know, I'm hoping the availability of food and supplies and all those good things, we're praying that it's going to be back to what we consider normal. Now, that's not to say it's not going to be tough on our pockets, because at this point, because of the supply and demand, and some of the supplies are not as readily available, prices are going to be up. They are up. And so we're going to have to look at that and look at that closely. Now, you know, I am going to show you what we've done, because we're almost at the end of our show. And I know this is Saturday morning. You got things that are going on and things that you need to do. And we want to be able to see all that we've done, because we've made cookies for National Cookie Day, and we've made cinnamon buns for Monday's National Cinnamon Bun Day. And they're going to be delicious. We're going to sit at lunchtime. I'm going to take one and we're going to eat it right here together. So I'm going to make sure I have plenty of them so that you can take a bite and taste them and see how they're going to taste. And I'll share with you the sweet dough as well, so that you can have that in your refrigerator. And in fact, the sweet dough and the buns you can put together, put your buns, wrap them well, and you can freeze them so if you only want two, you can pop two out and bake them. So we're going to take a look at that too on Monday. And we might have someone to drop in on Monday, because I have my friend Denise from This and That and The Apron Diva, who is going to be coming by on Monday, because, you know, we run things past each other. And when we're talking about planning and holidays and all those good things, we get geared up And I know you think we're wild because we get so excited with what we're going to be doing. And certainly it is a time we have to be grateful. We have to be thankful for all that we have. Even if it's not as much as we used to have, we are thankful for what we do have. So, guys, I am just so blessed that you were here today. And I am just looking forward to sitting down at the lunch table because we had a heavy conversation going last Monday that was really a lot of fun and very beneficial, not just to those of us who we are on all the time, but to some who we may never see their name, may never see their face, but they're out there and they need our inspiration along the way. So have a blessed and wonderful Saturday morning from Ebony, Ivy, and Time. And I pray that you are in the kitchen doing things for the kitchen and for your family. So have a blessed day and enjoy. Mwah.